gloom, and doom. Great. Now remember to practice using these words correctly, especially around your peers. You'll definitely like to show off to them your amazing skills and amazing vocabulary. That's dumb, man. Let's go, boy! That was good. Show off being smart or show off to be picked on as being smart. This is a very difficult decision. Speech therapy, or for some people, it may be called communication class. I mean, that's the only name I can think of, honestly. So we're just gonna call it speech therapy because it's the most easiest thing to remember. If you ever took this course every year, you basically remember going to a specific location in the school, sit down, and someone in front of you tells you, say these words. And you try to say them the best way you can, granted you have some issues with saying those words, and then you leave. And for some people, they think, oh, that's an easy course. I wish I can take it. And in your mind, you're thinking, but in reality, it's really not that simple. And to be brutally honest, not everyone understands the struggles of people who have speech issues because they have to take a course for that. It's just one of those things that you had to kind of sit down and explain to someone who is very new or minute because they have the privilege to have the gift of gab. They can talk to anyone normally versus someone who has to pretty much be careful with what they say or have to pretty much think carefully about what they say. And speech therapy is one of those classes that really makes you not only good with your communication but also bad at the same time. Now, I took speech therapy from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. Most people can take speech therapy all the way up to 12th grade, but I guess it depends on how severe the speech issue is. Now, the reasons that people get into speech therapy are different. Some people may have a physical issue like a lisp. Some people may stutter. For me, I have really no idea why I got into it. My brother got into it, and I guess based on, other factors that, my family has, I got into it. And I admit I needed it when I look back at it now, because speech was not one of my strong suits. I was a quiet kid, and I really didn't want to get into any issues with anybody. I just want to go to school and get out. Grando, it's easier said than done, because even when you try to stay quiet, you have a big target on your back. You don't want to look like an idiot in front of your classmates and your teachers. Now with speech therapy, the work that you do depends on what you need help with. You basically have to sit down and do different drills or different sheets of paper that has different words on it and repeat. For me, it was the R with or like with words like run or truck, and also words that have an H, like SH like sale, CH like church, TH like those. And to be honest, even as an adult, you still struggle with those words sometimes. And that's why a lot of kids in speech therapy kind of get the notion of, well, I had to say those words because the therapist forced me to say those words. So guess what? Outside, I don't really have to say them if I can just avoid it, right? Well, some of those words pop up way more than what you expect. Now, I wasn't alone in speech therapy. There were other kids in the class. Most people in the class were pretty nice. Sometimes you may be alone, other times you may actually have a group. And it's fun when you have a group because you know for a fact you're not the only one who struggles with words. You can quietly, laugh to yourself, I can say WA's words pretty easily, but then they can come back to you saying TA's words pretty well. So, yeah, it's one of those things that kind of makes you feel, like, hey, you're not alone in this journey of having issues with speech. The activities that we done depend on the grade level. When we were younger, speech therapy was actually kind of fun because the activities that actually makes us, speak more. I mean, one activity was I struggled with so much, even though it was easy, was go fish. Because you had to speak to everyone. Do you have a 1? Do you have a 2? Do you have a 3? All the stuff that we pretty much practice, in a real world scenario. Now, for me, I suck at the game some kind of way because, even though it was a game of chance, when I knew I was losing, I laughed my head off so much. It just was, obvious. I can just laugh so much that everyone understood that I have all the cars. I mean, it's kind of hard to hide your face and knowing that you have all the cars that everyone wants. But not only did we play games, but we also had these small little prizes that we can get based on our performance. So if we did good one day or wherever, we basically get a chance to go into the goodie box and get some stale candy or some bootleg frost that you just had to use your finger to jump. It's one of those things that you make you feel like, oh, I did great, and the dopamine rush definitely comes. Yes, that dopamine, it really does help. But when you get into higher grades like middle school, you begin to realize that speech therapy gets boring. You still had to do drills like you did when you were younger, but now you had to do things that are more school-like, like reading out loud. When you read out loud, it's embarrassing first of all because you read it out loud to not only yourself, but to the whole group. Now, in speech therapy is okay because you are reading out to people who struggle like you with speech. But in a regular classroom, it's different because you gotta read out loud. You gotta make sure you read to keep up with the coursework, yada yada yada, all this stuff. For me, when I read, my issue is going too fast because if I read too fast, that means I miss all the information. And trust me, when you have a fast mouth, it's not easy to always control it. Okay, Bob, read the next paragraph. Alrighty, now Bob, what did the guy say about his cattle when you read the paragraph? What? He was talking about cattle? So many kids come out of speech therapy not so confident in their abilities because they know they struggle with words. So now they gotta figure out a way to not show off to the kids so they be picked on. And trust me, I've been picked on plenty of times on how I've spoken. I wish school speech therapy broken down and explained each concept of speech and communication better. Yes, you can say a word correctly. But then you gotta think about how fast you're speaking it, how loud you're speaking it, the intonation of each syllable you're pronouncing. Are you in a calm state when you're speaking? Are you being too soft? Are you assertive enough? Do you have, good rhythm with your voice? Are you breathing correctly? There's so many different factors that I did not even know until I got around my age now that speech therapy did not teach at all. I wish someone taught me that instead of teaching me drills all day long. It's a pain in the butt.